The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
The facts are in. The studies are legion. Sodium fluoride and other toxic members of the fluoride family are devastating the health and cognitive ability of the American people. So why are the social engineers adding it to the water? Simple. Dumb down the host population that the parasitic technocracy is feeding on. We may not have been able to get fluoride out of the water supply yet, but we can help to get it out of our bodies. I am extremely excited to announce the exclusive InfoWars Life Fluoride Shield formulation, fusing 6 of the best documented ingredients from around the world to help the body remove not just toxic fluoride residues from the body, but a whole host of toxic substances. Let's take a stand against the globalists by blocking their poisons with Fluoride Shield. I use Fluoride Shield every day. Secure your Fluoride Shield and other pioneering formulations at InfoWarsLife.com today. Let's start cleansing our bodies now and support the InfoWar at the same time. That's InfoWarsLife.com. Why does the United States spend the largest percentage of GDP in the world on healthcare? Why do we have the highest cancer rates on the planet, the highest rates of diabetes, autism, and every other major disease? It all comes down to one thing. We are what we eat. Our food is devoid of nutrition and processed with poisons and additives. Our water is filled with toxic poisons and big pharma runoff. All of this has been engineered by design. We can turn the tide against the eugenicist by giving ourselves the nutrients our body desperately needs. To learn more, visit InfoWarsHealth.com. The site is literally packed with audio and video featuring top health professionals who don't bow down to big pharma. The fight against the New World Order starts with you, and you can't stand against the machine if you're sick, tired, and obese. When you visit InfoWarsHealth.com, be sure and check out the catalog with nearly 400 life-changing products and get free shipping when you sign up for AutoShip. Introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It is the only one that does it, and out of the gate, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro One filters today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance. It's Alex Jones.
Folks, I actually read the article that Paul Watson put out that broke while I was on the air about an hour ago during the break, and I am speechless right now. I had thought that some pro-Constitution police chief had been fired under federal directives and thought that was bad enough. I had no idea the TSA was involved and that they used it as a secret police checkpoint because we know they're data mining the NSA databases now with the TSA, and they're going to use it as internal checkpoints. But this article I'm going to cover after Jakari Jackson leaves us. It is simply amazing. I am speechless right now. We're going to be covering that in about 10 minutes, and then your calls. Jakari Jackson joins us from East Rutherford in New Jersey, across from New York, the site of Super Distraction, Super Tyranny 48. And there are now investigations going on in the Congress with 2 Republican senators looking to try to get rid of the NFL's tax-exempt status, billions a year. Unbelievable. as the owners, some of them make hundreds of millions a year. I mean, look, make your money, but I'm tired of paying billions for the sports stadiums with bond proposals, and then you guys are tax exempt. The minute we start making rich people pay taxes, you know, the really rich people, is the minute they'll cut taxes on the middle class and the poor people. But then they go with class warfare, just like race warfare, and tell poor people, hey, rich people aren't paying a lot of taxes. And then they raise it on somebody making $250,000 a year. That's the type of person that buys stuff and has employees. Simply amazing. And then the economy basically starts shutting down. So Jakari Jackson is there in New Jersey, right in front of the Dome, where they're going to be having this ridiculous event. They're at MetLife Stadium, and he is there to cover it. We're going to have a lot of man-on-the-street interviews on the show tomorrow. We're going to have man-on-the-street interviews for the nightly news. He's going to be asking him questions like, the Viper teams are here. Are you ready for a proctology exam? He's going to ask him kind of Mark Dicey type questions of, well, should we have a proctology exam, or should we wear clear plastic clothing? Since Mayor Bloomberg wanted folks to wear, you know, clear plastic coats, you know, just to make sure we're not bad. Absolute slavery going on there. So, Jakari, what are your first observations, and what are some of the things you're planning in the run-up to Sunday's game?
Well, Alex, we just got here at MetLife Stadium in New York. You can see the stadium behind me. And, Alex, when we got here, you know, I was very surprised because we see a bit of a police presence. We know the TSA Viper teams are going to be out here in the area. We have some police over here to just right off the side of me. We also have helicopters flying overhead. And, Alex, we're going to be out here not to cover the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter if the Broncos win or if it's the Seahawks. It's the things that you lose. You're going to be losing your Fourth Amendment if you come out to these games. You're going to be patted down. You're going to be searched. Like you said, they want you to wear clear plastic clothing out here in the state. Also, you can only bring a clear plastic bag, a little Ziploc baggie for your personal effects.
So what I'm saying, Jakari, is we should, like, seriously go, shouldn't we wear clear plastic clothing then and you know, have a cavity search like they now do at the TSA? When they say yes.
They would love to do that, Alex. I'm sure they absolutely would love to do that, all in the name of keeping you safe. Although the TSA has yet to catch a single terrorist, they will do these things in the guise of keeping you safe, even though they can't even do that. Meanwhile, Mayor Bloomberg, Como, all these other guys, they have their bodyguards, they have their various people with concealed carry, but they don't want you, disarmed slaves, to have that same opportunity. But, Alex, we're going to be out here. We're going to be covering the TSA aspects, the violation of your Fourth Amendment. We're going to see, you know, if these people know about the real topics in the world, or do they only care about football. We're going to talk about human trafficking and other things that surround these events.
That's right. Absolutely decadent Sodom and Gomorrah type situation with thousands of underage prostitutes, you name it, just a lot of degradation going on. But also the way they've made it political, where they can be tax exempt, but then they try to take tax exemption away from pro-life groups. So a pro-life group can't be tax exempt, but the billionaire NFL owners can be.
That's right, Alex. And you know, these organizations, they pride themselves on being charity workers. And you'll see the commercials. They go out and, you know, coach a local football team. But what they give to local charities is peanuts compared to what they rake in. Is really a fraction of a fraction when you get down to it.
Well, and again, they don't let the average company do this, or everybody could be a charity and only give 1% like the NFL. Or Bill Clinton spending half the millions he gets from the Haitian Fund on his private jets. I mean, it's disgusting. Bottom line, don't give to big charities unless it's groups that have proven they're good, like the Salvation Army. Give to local charities, or actually give yourself. But notice, they don't want local charities feeding the homeless. They don't want little girls baking cupcakes or having lemonade stands. They only want big corporate events.
That's exactly right, because you see the same behind me. I don't know if you can see from here, but you got the big Pepsi logos, and you got Kevin Bacon on the loudspeaker over here. It's definitely a big corporate event. But like you said, if you want to have a lemonade stand, if you want to feed the homeless, you know, heaven forbid you actually feed a homeless person and bring some good work and good cheer to the world. You can't do that, Alex.
Now, let's war game this out a little bit politically. I want you to go and find a crowd of morons that are attending this and, again, say, hey, they only want you to have clear bags. What about clear clothes? And then when they joke about that and agree with it, say, yeah. And then say, but, you know, the government people aren't going to be wearing clear clothes. Oh, but I guess they're better than us. They're not servants. They're our owners, so they don't have to follow the same thing. Did you know that the TSA lets the Al-Qaeda-connected terrorist-listed Muslim Brotherhood in without being groped? Did you know it's about a takeover?
You're talking about the Muslim Brotherhood coming through the TSA checkpoints. When we arrived here just a few minutes ago, we asked the guy, where's the tailgate party? And he looked at us so crazy. He's like, there is no tailgating at the Super Bowl. I was like, sir, you're joking. People can tailgate out here at the Super Bowl. He said, no, this is for your security. We're going to have all these big events. You can have the big Pepsi Dome behind me or whatever else, but you can't have people to congregate to celebrate the Super Bowl.
Well, they already...
Not that we're promoting the Super Bowl, but they don't even want you to enjoy the time you have while you're here.
Well, listen, you're supposed to only look at their big screens like watching TV. You're not supposed to have a barbecue or play with the neighbors. People might actually think you're supposed to go outside and play card games or play horseshoes. They might think you're actually supposed to talk to other humans. Look at how in Arizona a few months ago, they had the anti-terrorism squad and anti-gang squad out videotaping everyone at the college tailgating games. This is what it's about. Congregating is criminal. You're only allowed to go through big gates, have your genitals groped, and then go in and watch a bunch of steroid heads run around, Jakari.
That's exactly right. And, who knows? We've seen a lot of the shady things going on in the halftime shows, not just at the Super Bowl, but at the Grammys and all these other big events. So time will tell what's going to happen here come Sunday when the halftime show comes about. We've seen Madonna, we've seen Beyonce, other people as well. So we'll see what happens this Sunday.
Now, what does East Rutherford look like when you drove from the airport? I know you just arrived there minutes ago. Does it look bombed out like the rest of the East Coast?
No, I was surprised to see when we came down here, I didn't see as many big buildings as I thought we would, at least on this side. This side of the bridge, on the other side of your big buildings that you would associate with New York, New Jersey, the iconic structures. But coming down here, it didn't look too bad. But granted, we only drove a relative short distance from the airport.
Hey, look, there's a whole squad of morons right there. Go talk to them.
Oh, okay. Go on.
Yeah. Let's take your time. There'll be more groups of people.
Okay, well, trying to get up here.
You're doing a great job there, Jakari. And if it breaks up, it's no problem. This is all live. This is all real, ladies and gentlemen. But we're here covering the news. While they're getting up there to talk to some people, we'll see if they act like a total police state and run up and act like it's bizarre for free association to be happening. Let me tell you about this article. They're setting up the TSA as database centers where most people will be allowed through in the future without being groped and stuff. But a lot of times you'll be pulled off the side, interrogated, or even disappeared. Well, now there's an article on PrisonPlanet.com and Infowars.com. Chief of police harassed by feds, fired after signing pledge to uphold Constitution. And that's a great headline by Watson, but it's even worse than that. It's even worse than that. They knew who he was off the databasing, totally illegal, that they admit the TSA is using, to know that he was going to Sheriff Mack's event in Las Vegas. It's extremely mainline about sheriffs and police following the Bill of Rights and Constitution. I mean, Sheriff Mack beat Clinton at the Supreme Court on the Brady Law. This would make the police upstanding. And, boy, they get upset about the police standing up and saying, we're going to follow the American law. They call that political and had him fired. A police chief was detained. And you guys pop in any time if there's something newsworthy happening. A police chief was detained and harassed by federal agents while traveling to a constitutional convention before returning home to be told he was fired and ordered to disband his police department after signing a pledge to uphold the Bill of Rights. And it wasn't even called a constitutional convention. It was a law enforcement, I guess it was technically a constitutional convention, but not in the way you'd think. It was a convention on the Constitution. We should flip that because it can be misunderstood. Police Chief Shane Harger of the Jemez Springs, New Mexico Police Department was flying out of Albuquerque Airport last week on his way to the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association convention taking place in Vegas. And remember we had that police chief on, or that sheriff from Liberty, Florida? He read the code. It said if the guy's law-abiding coming from his home or business with a gun, he's allowed to have it. I'm not charging him. And, I mean, I'm going to let him go. And they went and had a state investigation and arrested him, and he won in court. But they're going after police that aren't evil, folks. And we've got to stand with people like this guy when they do the right thing. I don't have to say, oh, cops, you need to act like Americans and do all this. And then when they don't, the system goes after them and we don't back them. Before passing security, Harger was approached by a TSA agent who asked the police chief to show his credentials. Moments later, a man claiming to be a federal agent also asked to see Harger's credentials before telling him he was a person of interest.